Hey guys, it's Quentin West. Just wanted to hop on here and talk a little bit about my backstory. You know, a lot of you guys probably only see what's online now, the travel, the big portfolios, you know, the thousands of students that we're helping, but most people don't know my backstory. So for starters, if you don't know me and you're new to the channel, my name is Quentin West. I'm the CEO and founder of Shortcut to Superhost. I've made upwards of $5 million on Airbnb myself. I've been in Airbnb for the past 6 years. The past 3 years, we've been coaching students all over the country on how to start, optimize, or scale their business. And I built my business up really quick, too fast. So I started in 2019. I had a property that I lived in, and I could no longer afford the mortgage. So I moved back in with my parents. I was 21 at the time. And I put the house on Airbnb just to kind of float by and pay some bills. Ended up making a lot of money. I never intended on it being a business, but when I saw that opportunity, I pivoted. I went from trying to be a real estate agent full-time to going all in on Airbnb. And so for the next year, I kind of dove all in. I learned about Airbnb arbitrage. I learned about business credit. I maxed out all my credit cards. I signed a bunch of leases. Got 12 units, cash flowing about $14,000 a month on Airbnb, and just grew really quick. And then about 2 years in, sorry, I got some mud I'm walking around. I'm walking out on our farm. About 2 years in, I was up to around 30 or so units, and then we finally got to around 47 units in 3 states. And just grew really fast, too fast. And I tell you the story because that's the point. At that point, I kind of was over leveraged. Some of my properties, the cash flow wasn't the greatest. And ultimately we got to the point where I went from making $130,000 a month across my whole portfolio to borrowing quarters from my kids' piggy bank just to feed us. Now there's a lot of steps in between, a lot of bad decisions I made, bad investments, kept properties that weren't performing, and just kept, running them regardless. But I tell you all this to tell you how I came out of that. Sorry, I got some fire trucks in the background now. So whenever I dug this huge hole for myself where I had all this debt and I was no longer cash flowing, first I had to cut costs. Any properties that weren't performing well, we either bought out the leases or the landlords let us break them. But then I went through the process of learning about optimization. And I learned that the property, as good as it possibly could be, is not enough anymore. We've got to optimize our listings and market and price well enough so that we actually get booked. Because it doesn't matter how great our properties are if nobody sees them. And so that's why some of you guys, maybe if you're in a position where you spent all this time and money and energy and like put your heart and soul into properties and they're not performing, it's probably because of your listing. It's not because of your property. So what's important when it comes down to a listing? Number one, we want to get seen. So if you're not on the front page at least 50% of the time, then you're definitely going to be struggling to get enough bookings to really be competitive in your market. And the problem with having less than 50% of your views being on the front page is that over time, with that negative momentum, Airbnb gives you less and less. So it's really important to not only get seen, but be seen on the front page more than 50% of the time. And the way that we do that is by converting at a high rate over time, building that trust with the platform that you're actually going to get booked. I'm going to take a breather climbing up this hill. But over time, as you show Airbnb that they can trust you with the views and the opportunity they give you, they'll give you more. Because at the end of the day, your listing is an asset for them. If you're not getting booked and they're sending you all this traffic, then they're wasting their money and resources by sending you the traffic. So in other words, they're going to send it to somebody else. So it's really important that we learn about conversion and how to market better so that we can tailor our listings to what our market actually wants. And that's what we've really kind of mastered, is understanding how the algorithm works, how people think when they make a booking decision, so that we can tailor our listings to get the best result and make the most money possible in any market. And then on top of that, when we get in front of people more frequently, we get more views, more opportunity, and we learn how to convert those views to bookings more than our competition. And we learn how to price correctly so that year round, we're priced at a rate people are ready and willing to pay. That is a recipe for success. You know, we say this in our business all the time. It's like a equation that only has one outcome. Just like 1 + 1 can only equal 2, if you get in front of more people, you learn how to convert them at a higher rate, and you price at a rate they're willing to pay, then there's only one outcome. You can only make more money with that, unless you're just in the worst market you can possibly think of. If you have vacancy, that formula alone will help you get booked more frequently and make more money. So the reason why this is so important to you guys, and the reason why you should care so much about it, is Airbnb, again, works off of momentum. So if over the past couple of years, you're making less and less and less money, you're gonna carry that momentum into the rest of the time that you own that property, unless you make a change. We've all heard this saying, in order to see a change, you gotta make a change. And to do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, is a definition of insanity. So if you're still trying to do the same things, trying to use these gimmicky hacks you hear on YouTube, like move your photos around every 24 hours, none of that stuff works anymore. You have to make data-based decisions and understand if what you are doing is actually working. And the only way to do that is to understand how the algorithm works and how to track your data on the platform. So if you want to learn more about this, we literally have taught over 1,000 students worldwide, more than 15 different countries. At this point, it's probably over 1,200 students, really not keeping count. But if you want more details, if you want a detailed analysis on your property, if you want some insight into what's working, why you may not be making the money that you want, and what you need to do to change the result that you're getting, text S2S to 26786. S2S, the number 2, to 26786. That is a personal number that I've set up so that I can communicate with you guys and respond. I'm gonna shoot over a link to book a call with us. That way you can talk with our team, we can look at your property, see what you're actually dealing with. This is a very low sales pressure environment. We're not getting you on a call just to hard pitch you. But if you feel like you have a real problem, if you feel like you're leaving money on the table month after month, it's worth at least having a conversation. And we would love the opportunity to look over your listing and see how it may make sense to work together so you can solve that problem. For everybody else, hopefully you get a lot of value out of this. Hit that subscribe button and that bell notification in the top. That way you get notified in case we post anything in the future. I'm gonna spend a little bit more time focusing on YouTube. I'm getting a lot of requests about videos just like this so that we can help the new age of hosts. I'll see you guys on the next one.